If you have insurance, this video is about you. That should make you pause, because it challenges something you trust. You were promised safety, but no one explained the condition attached to it. This is not fear. It is clarity most people never get. Stay until the end, because what you discover will change how safe you feel, forever afterward. Why this feels safe? Insurance feels safe because it fits how responsible people think. You work, you plan, you pay, and the system rewards that behavior. A monthly payment becomes proof that you did the right thing. Paperwork, cards, apps, and confirmation emails reinforce that belief. Everything looks official, organized, and under control. That structure creates psychological relief before any protection is tested. Your brain interprets enrollment as completion, not as risk management. Once enrolled, you stop questioning the details. You assume the hard thinking has already been done for you. Language like coverage, benefits, and protection sounds definitive. It suggests certainty in situations that are actually unpredictable. The system benefits from that assumption. The calmer you feel, the fewer questions you ask. And the fewer questions you ask, the smoother the system runs. This is not manipulation, it is design. Safety is the product, not the outcome. And most people never notice it. The quiet cost nobody talks about. The quiet cost begins after you feel covered. Nothing breaks, nothing fails, and nothing feels wrong. You keep paying, assuming the hard part is over. But this is where risk quietly moves back onto you. It hides inside deductibles, exclusions, and delayed approvals. Protection exists, but only after you absorb uncertainty first. The system does not deny help, it slows it. That delay transfers stress, time, and financial exposure to you. Most people never calculate this cost until it appears. By then, the decision has already been made. You adjust behavior, postpone care, and accept smaller outcomes. None of this is visible in your monthly premium. The quiet cost is psychological before it is financial. You hesitate, second guess, and negotiate with yourself. That hesitation is exactly where the system saves money. And you pay the difference without noticing it happening. Until one moment makes everything suddenly clear. Too late. The insurance I'm talking about is health insurance. Specifically, modern plans that promise coverage while limiting certainty. These plans look comprehensive, responsible, and reassuring at first glance. They are presented as protection, but function as conditional access. You are covered only after conditions are met. Deductibles must be satisfied before help begins. Networks determine where care is allowed. Approvals often arrive after decisions have already been forced. None of this feels dangerous while you are healthy. The risk appears only when you actually need protection. That is why the reveal feels uncomfortable. Health insurance is not a guarantee, it is a negotiation. The terms matter more than the promise. Most people never read those terms closely. They assume protection exists because payment exists. That assumption is where the system quietly protects itself and leaves you exposed at the worst possible moment. When certainty matters more than paperwork ever does there. How protection quietly becomes conditional. protection becomes conditional through mechanisms that seem reasonable in isolation. A deductible reframes help as something you must earn first. Until you pay enough, coverage technically exists but practically does not. Networks quietly decide which doctors count and which do not. Care outside those boundaries becomes your responsibility, not the system's. Approvals arrive after treatment, when choices are already made. Its condition feels small when viewed alone. Together, they create hesitation at the exact moment clarity is needed. You start asking permission instead of expecting support. You delay care, compare costs, and negotiate urgency with yourself. The system does not force these choices. It simply makes the alternative expensive, slow, or uncertain. Protection turns into a series of checkpoints. Each checkpoint shifts pressure onto time, money, and emotion. By the time help activates, damage has already occurred. Not always physical damage, sometimes financial, sometimes psychological. The quiet cost is learning to live inside that hesitation. You adapt without noticing. The adaptation is what the system depends on. Over time, this becomes normal behavior, reinforced by silence, complexity, and habit, until protection feels distant, conditional, and exhausting. While responsibility quietly settles on the person who assumed the system would carry it when decisions matter, most under pressure, pain, and urgency daily. Why smart people miss this? Smart people miss this because the system does not look like a trap. It looks logical, professional, and responsibly managed. Smart people trust systems that appear structured. They assume complexity exists to protect them, not to test them. Education reinforces this belief, not skepticism. Experts speak in reassuring language and polish explanation. Nothing sounds alarming enough to question. Smart people also value efficiency. They outsource thinking when a system promises reliability. Health insurance positions itself as expertise you do not need to duplicate. Reading every detail feels unnecessary and exhausting. So, smart people focus on outcomes, not conditions. They expect protection to activate automatically. When it does not, they blame timing, paperwork, or themselves. The idea that the system works as designed feels uncomfortable because intelligence prefers mistakes over manipulation. That discomfort keeps questions silent, delays scrutiny, and allows quiet costs to persist beneath confidence and trust for most people. Health insurance is not a promise of safety. It is a contract that manages risk, not fear. The mistake is not having coverage. The mistake is believing coverage means certainty. Once you understand this, decisions change. You ask better questions, read conditions, and plan differently. This awareness does not remove risk, it returns control. And control, not comfort, is what real protection actually feels like. That shift is uncomfortable at first, but this is the difference between hoping for help and understanding how help truly works when real pressure arrives. The most expensive insurance mistake is not being uninsured. It is believing you are safe when you are not. If this video made you uncomfortable, that reaction matters. Discomfort is often the first sign of clarity. Subscribe if you want to understand systems before they fail you. Because once you see the design, you cannot ignore it again, ever again.